Weeds are one of the major threats to the natural environment and primary production activity. They crowd out native species, degrade the land, and reduce farm yields. Invasive weed species represent one of the biggest threats to our biodiversity, changing the natural diversity and balance of ecological communities, spreading faster than they can be controlled. Herbicides were developed in an attempt to manage the spread of weeds, and there are countless types on the market today, the most familiar and successful being based on the chemical glyphosate.
Since 2003, I've practiced organics, and since 2011, biodynamics. And as I've watched things improve, I've seen how continued use of something like glyphosate has sent the soil backwards. So I've always been looking for some solution to weeds. If you're in organics, I guess the biggest barrier you find is how you deal with weeds.
In the last decade, about 6 billion kilograms of glyphosate has been applied worldwide in agriculture, and a great deal of controversy has followed with regard to the effects of long-term use on human health, soil degradation, and the ever-growing list of weeds that are resistant to its effects. Until now, there hasn't been a sustainable and safe solution.
I see around with glyphosate, the soils below are barren. They are all grown, you get slime and fungus growing. This is stuff that grew millions of years ago. It's almost like it's returned back to an old barren landscape. Where I see no use of chemicals, particularly things like synthetic chemicals or weedicides, I see better biology. We've actually analysed it.
Weeds are a serious problem around the world. In Australia alone, it's costing over $8 billion per year. Australian agribusiness spends $4 billion per annum managing weeds, and they cost the environment another $4 billion. Grain producers, for example, lose an average of 276 tonnes of grain per annum due to weeds. While glyphosate-based herbicides have been successful in weed management historically, their effectiveness is reducing. In recent years, more and more weed species have become tolerant to glyphosate due to a continuous reliance and a lack of rotation in spray schedules.
Glyphosate's the chemical of choice, or was a chemical of choice way back in the early 80s, late 70s. The problem with that is that overuse over time, over the next, say, 80s and the 90s, we've used it for 10 or 15 years, and then we started to get cases where the weed control wasn't as good. Then we tested it maybe in the mid-90s, getting cases of confirmed glyphosate resistance. So over those years, from the mid-90s to recent times, we've had many cases of new glyphosate-resistant weeds being confirmed.
The evidence now points towards the need for a critical change to weed management practices to protect ourselves and the environment. There is now global demand for an alternative to glyphosate-based herbicides that can be applied safely in agriculture, around playgrounds, parks and homes. French President Emmanuel Macron has announced his government will ban glyphosate in 2021, and sooner if a viable alternative can be found. Chemists and plant scientists have been searching for a natural, safe alternative to glyphosate-based herbicides, but the agricultural industry has been skeptical about the efficiency of organic, non-toxic and biodegradable herbicides offering the solution.
People are now resorting to alternative ways of killing weeds, not necessarily chemical. They may be looking at cultivating the fallow paddocks, which sometimes has deleterious effects on soil structure and moisture loss. They may be looking at cover cropping or grazing, or, and this is where I sort of come into play, sometimes we're looking at alternative chemicals. It may not be from a conventional group of herbicides that we know, it may be just alternative natural products which can still kill weeds.
Nontox is a proven organic, non-toxic, biodegradable weed killer that was approved for manufacture and sale by the Australian Pesticides and Medicine Authority, APVMA, in September 2017. It has been tested and proven to be highly successful in treating many grasses, broadleaf weeds, thistles, blackberry and lantana, including the growing list of glyphosate-resistant weeds.
I've been sort of employed to look at the role of Nontox, which is an alternative herbicide. I found it from preliminary trials to be quite useful on some of these glyphosate-resistant weeds. I know the strengths of this product. It's very good to be applied when the weeds are smaller. You'll get a better kill. It's very fast, very active. You'll see plants wilting within a matter of half an hour to an hour, pretty quickly. And so my role is to investigate that in the next 2 or 3 years to get the most out of the product, to see where it has a fit in agriculture or alternative industries.
As well as being effective, it's a cost-comparative option, and industries lining up to use Nontox include organic and traditional vineyards, councils and local government authorities, golf clubs and rail corridor managers. Nontox is already gaining considerable attention and credibility following outstanding results in independent trials. It has been selected by the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries to be part of its GATE Global Ag Tech Ecosystem program, with extensive broadacre trials planned to treat glyphosate-resistant weeds and a variety of spot spraying environments. Nontox intends to expand its trial collaborations with the DPI and help fund research in areas where new weed management techniques are called for. We have the privilege of working alongside some of the best weed scientists in Australia who are enthusiastically combining with us to attack the weed and glyphosate problem. Our extensive successful trialling ensures Nontox enters the commercial environment in a strong position, safe in the knowledge it is highly effective and safe for humans and the environment. Our next phase will involve the upscaling of our laboratory and batching plant, delivering a cost-effective, transportable and easily applied product that can be ordered through our website. With an application for European Union product registration underway, the Nontox team is taking advantage of fast-track approvals for organic products, enabling countries like France to deliver on their promise to replace glyphosate within 3 years. Australia continues to be at the forefront of agricultural innovation, and we're excited to share the future of weed management with you.
Anything that's going to give us a solution to organics with weedicide is easily adapted and easily adopted. I'm a big fan. I want to see this happen. Makes my job a whole lot easier.